Hi, my name is Nina Bazan Sakamoto from Think Tank Shambir, and today I'll be talking about the development and history of Al-Shabaab. In the 20th century, Somalia was divided by European colonial powers. After Somalia was decolonized, French Somaliland expelled many Somalis. Also, the northern frontier district of Kenya, run by Kenya, expelled many Somalis. Therefore, Somalis were repressed and displaced. A Somali republic was formed but only lasted until 1969. The president was assassinated by General Mohammed Said Bayer, who morphed the country into an Islamic communist state. The government became more totalitarian and oppressive. Both militia and political resistance movements arose, and Barr's government collapsed in 1991, leaving the country without any central government and leaving it up for warlords to fight and leaving the country in civil war. In many areas, Islamic Sharia law courts arose, and as they spread, Islamic Courts Union (ICU) came into power. They also fought with secular warlords and defeated them and took control of Mogadishu in 2006. ICU controlled most of southern Somalia, but was driven out of power by the Bush administration-backed Ethiopian invasion of Somalia. Young extremists that broke away from ICU after they were defeated formed Al-Shabaab. Starting in 2007, U.S. began attacks against Al-Shabaab, which is still continuing today. Al-Shabaab carried out a bloody insurgency against Ethiopian troops deployed AU forces. Also, they carried out suicide bombings in 2010 against Ugandans watching the World Cup, killing 74. They also banned aid groups in the territory during a catastrophic famine. Also, Al-Shabaab struck a Kenyan mall and many Kenyan towns around the border. Al-Shabaab is still growing, and even Americans and Britishers are joining. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Astrid Garcia. So Al-Shabaab, or the Movement of the Striving Youth, which it means in Arabic, has 4,000 to 6,000 militants, and some of which have been attracted from Western states like the United States. The U.S. Committee of Homeland Security says that over 40 Muslims have been recruited since 2007, which has also happened in the UK. Abdulkadir Muhammad Abdulkadir, or Ikrima, is one of the leaders of recruitment in Britain. He has lived in London for a year in 2007 until he joined the jihadist militia, while also recruiting from radical Islamists during his time in Britain. He has alleged association with Hassan Abdi Danilo, who is a Norwegian citizen of Somali origin, who is believed to have been a leader of the attack on Westgate Shopping Center in the Kenyan capital of Nairobi in September, which killed 67 people. Ikrima is a senior commander of the Amiyat, which is the Secret Service unit, and helped put off the bombs in Nairobi. Another leader is Mukhtar Abu Zabahir, who is the emir of Al-Shabaab, which is very serious. He has a $7 million price tag on his head by the United States government. He was also a part of the Westgate shopping mall bombing, and also the suicide bombings in Uganda in 2010. He's a pro-Al-Qaeda leader who first took power after the death of Arro in May 2008, and who corresponds directly with Osama bin Laden and hopes for public recognition by him. He has been controversial because he wants to turn this loose collective into a forceful organization. Thank you.
Alright, so hey, my name is Jacob Warhus. I'm from Think Tank Chimbir, and today I'm going to be talking about the recent news and history of Al-Shabaab. So dating back a while now, Al-Shabaab as a group has functioned pretty independently from the ICU, which is the Islamic Courts Union, which it kind of originated from. But very recently, they've gone into times of pretty desperate times where a lot of organizations and people are starting to step back from them, especially with the defeat and removal from Mogadishu by the Somalian transitional federal government and the African Union troops. So that was in December 2011. On September 24th, 2012, Islam group Hizbul Islam, their spokesman Muhammad Mulim announced that the group was discontinuing its association with Al-Shabaab. This was mostly because the primary reasons were because the group's decision was that Al-Shabaab's political philosophy was not shared anymore, and their youth militant group, considerably backed by both now women and girls, considerably weakened their militant group. So Hizbul Islam backed out. In July 5th, 2012, Obama administration announced sanctions on Eritrea's intelligence chief and high-ranking military officer. This was related to allegations that Eritrea was helping fund Al-Shabaab up to 80,000 grand or $80,000 a month. However, it seems like they might have stopped that because a monitoring group, a United Nations monitoring group, said it had found no evidence of direct Eritrean funding of this. Now, in more recent news, just to show the desperation and radicalization of Al-Shabaab even now, Al-Shabaab was talked about in the British news recently. They get nonprofits and organizations to pay them in order for them to go into Somali rural areas and help people. They take a lot of those resources as well and stuff, so that hasn't stopped, as well as their backing and funding of piracy and allegations that they take up to 20% of a cut of any piracy activities going on. So we see this continued falling desperation and falling apart of this Al-Shabaab community, and we can continue to see that in most recent international news. Thank you so much.
My name is Genevieve Lane, and my topic is the economy and development of Somalia. Somalia is one of the world's poorest and least developed states due to being in constant conflict over the past 23 years and its lack of government. Agriculture makes up about 59% of the state's GDP. Therefore, Somalia's economy is mainly based in the agricultural and pastoral industries. But violent outbreaks, floods, and droughts constantly affect its agricultural activity. 71% of the labor force is in agriculture, which is mainly subsistence farming. Therefore, livestock plays an important role in the small amount of export the state has. However, Somalia's infrastructure is stronger than other African states, so some private investors have turned to Somalia, especially in the telecommunications industry. Somalia's trade deficit is in the negative zone due to having large amounts of imports with low amounts of exports. They also get loans from the IMF, causing them to have a large amount of debt. But there seems to be some kind of improvement as Coca-Cola is reopening in Mogadishu and the state has revised its investment law, which is drawing more investors. However, as stated in Manning's article, sustainable development will not take place as long as armed conflict is prevailing. The international community also needs to change its approach towards helping Somalia. For example, the Danish Refugee Council has a community-driven recovery and development program that helps members of a community with various projects that improve infrastructure and strengthen local governance. Manning's article also states that they give the people the ability to decide and define their needs, as well as decide how the process should be undertaken. However, providing Somalia with more foreign aid is difficult due to the amount of security issues that they have.
Hi, my name is Max Ortiz from the group called Shimbir, and I'm covering security with Somalia. And so right now, what I've got, Right now, the security is pretty dicey, of course, especially since the September shootings at the Westgate Mall, killing a ton of people. Um, Al Shabaab has proven that like they're still around even after their leader being killed in 2008, still around and dangerous. So that's always something. And then also, since like Al Shabaab has had their leader killed in 2008, they declared war on all Westerners basically. It's pretty hard to get like our NGOs and IGOs out there to help out more. Aside from our like from Western militaries helping out. Um, so like just helping even in non military ways is pretty hard right now. Then also Somalia, aside from getting Western help, they're getting help from the African Union forces, and even though that's like some help, some of their issues are that like metal detectors are hard to come by for them, and then they can't use dogs to like sniff out bombs because for Muslims it's like sinful or haram to be touched by dogs. So that's like that rules out that whole possibility, and it makes it just harder for them, of course. And then also, my overall like opinions on or solutions I've come up with for these issues with security would be needs to be like more programs that promote anti-violence and peace, like the ones suggested in the article where like people would put their guns in locked areas and stuff. And then also there needs to be more programs geared towards youth to get them at an early age, um, not to maybe like get them actually to get them to think more peacefully and not be interested in joining like any terrorist groups like Al Shabaab or any violent groups, things like that. And yeah, my name is Max, and I cover security. Thanks.
My name is Darren Singh, and I am team leader for think tank Shimbir, and I will be wrapping up this video by covering possible solutions and implications for solving the Somalia problem. So first, I want to point out that we've covered piracy, terrorism, a famine, civil war, infrastructure problems in the country, and in order to end all these issues, you need a legitimate government in Somalia because the interim government right now has failed to establish itself as a self-sufficient sovereign state, and that's because of foreign intervention, and a lot of Somalis have a very negative outlook towards a centralized government because foreign intervention through America, through other Western states, through their African neighbors, it's gone really poorly. Example, Operation Restore Hope. So this anti-war and anti-Western sentiment makes it very hard to repair the infrastructure of Somalia. So a possible solution is to take what Somalia already has and what they already do well and apply it to strengthening the country. Many sources state that Somalia has a vibrant middle class, and there are many local businesses that do thrive despite all the struggle they have currently. So in order to remove the security threat, you need to fix the economic problems. They go hand in hand. And so by utilizing the middle class, by mobilizing grassroots movements, it is possible to repair the infrastructure and institute a more efficient government with more honest individuals, because corruption is a huge problem. And through this method, you can effectively remove a lot of the disparity, the economic disparity. And if you do that, you remove a lot of people who might possibly be persuaded to join a terrorist or crime group. And in that way, you remove the membership pool for these terrorist groups. And if worse comes to worse, there should be coordination and cooperation between African Union states and the global community in combating the terrorism. But before you do that, before you put boots on the ground, you need to fix the problem from the bottom up, not from top down. And that starts with the Somali people. And that is one of many solutions, but that is the best solution that our think tank could come up with. Thank you, and signing off for now.